TD Jakes and Diddy Freak Off Party.
Get him black. Fuck him up. Get him right. Tighten up.
My birthday is tomorrow. His wife's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday! Happy birthday! My birthday is tomorrow. His wife's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday!
Some of you come in to hear what I'm going to say. All of you who expect me to address a lie, you can log off.
Hey, I don't know whether y'all been paying attention, but it appears like the cat's out the bag. That's because this entire Diddy story is deeper than what most people imagined. Now, we had additional evidence coming out linked to the Alphabet Boys investigating Diddy's alleged private party activities, and also how Diddy met TD Jakes. And with that word is that TD Jakes' son, Jermaine, introduced his father to Puff Diddy a few years ago, I think in 2010 to be accurate, which was about the same time Diddy said he had custody to conduct work with the young Justin Bieber, who he drafted from Usher. And we all know about Diddy's bond with Usher.
Diddy, he was using TD Jakes to fix his image. You believe that?
Well, we saw that to be true anyway. That's what he was trying to do all that time. That's why TD Jakes was there, to try to fix his image. Ain't no money like church money. He was doing all the things to try to get his image straightened up.
I mean, it makes sense. And he also said in this lawsuit that when he was around Diddy, he seen Diddy give out guns, a lot of guns. And he said that the environment around Diddy was violent.
Well, I don't know. He also said Diddy distributed firearms and was selling drugs. And I don't know how far-fetched that is. I don't know if that's true or not and stuff like that. Maybe, Diddy may have had guns around and was fronting. Because they do have guys who, if you need guns and stuff like that, call your man them over. He'll bring over 5 or 6, 7, 8 guns and you'll probably buy them from him. They had that type of, connection with people.
Now, Puff Diddy and TD Jakes met when TD Jakes and his kid attended a BET Gospel Awards presentation that was hosted in LA. And Diddy said was there at the awards event because he was in the midst of putting together a gospel album under the Bad Boy recording label. And at that time, Diddy was trying to get Kirk Franklin, Mary Mary, Yolanda Adams, BB and CeCe Winans, Kelly Price, plus a few more other musicians to perform a joint gospel album presented and produced by no other than your guy, Puff Diddy. And that's how Diddy and Jake's son, Jermaine, were first introduced, because months prior to the Gospel Awards show that was taking place in LA, a mutual friend informed Diddy that TD Jakes' son was an engineer for TD Jakes' choir and had worked with the gospel artist I just mentioned in the past. And that common acquaintance that connected Diddy to TD Jakes' kid happens to be Saucy Santana. Yeah, the same person that they say on Love and Hip Hop, which gives leeway for folks to ask, how does Diddy and Saucy Santana know one another? And word is, Diddy been supposedly bashing Saucy Santana for years. Which goes to show a lot of us don't know what actually goes on behind the scenes. But hey, what's done in the dark has to ultimately come to the light.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If, they probably got a little bit more freakier, as time went on, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, where people used to go to, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other that's just crazy.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party.
Now back to this entire Pete Diddy controversy. Yeah, they allege that Kim Porter, Cassie, and Young Miami were only employed to cover up his behind-the-scenes actions Diddy had going on with Saucy Sand. And again, that's how TD Jakes was connected to Diddy via his son Jermaine, which they both felt Diddy's money and influence would be a great advantage to TD Jakes' profession as a preacher and his son's career as an engineer/producer. So the cat's completely out of the bag now that TD Jake's kid Jermaine looks to be demonstrating a history of engagement with questionable conduct. Meaning to state this, he's been engaged in introducing TD Jakes' father to Diddy, but then also other reports suggest that Jermaine was arrested for an incident of indecent exposure some years back. So now that people are alleging Jermaine organized the alliance between his father and TD Jakes and Diddy, it appears to bring up a worry about if he has also involved in activities at Diddy's events. Makes you question what type of individuals he's connected with himself. Because as we all know, he may be doing some things that his father doesn't approve of. And preachers' children tend to occasionally behave out of order, dependent on who they contact with outside of the family, and also because they're feeling extremely pigeonholed into being organized with this religious routine. I'm trying to convince y'all things was fine for a minute, particularly with Jakes getting contributions from top-tier artists around the business. So it makes you question what sort of individuals is TD Jakes' kid Jermaine affiliated with himself? Because we know he may be doing some things that his father doesn't approve of. It's common known that children of pastors may occasionally behave out of order, dependent on who they connect with outside of the family, particularly when they're feeling like they're living a highly regimented and protected existence. And it's much simpler when you truly don't have to work for anything since your parents already done it. Your parents have gave you a suitable lifestyle that you live in that you feel like you really don't have to work for in order to get the money to live the life that you live in today. Y'all had to realize that TD Jakes is being brought up in this entire P. Diddy incident because his name was listed in the docs that Cassie had on Diddy. And thus we have to all question ourselves, why would Cassie list TD Jakes as one of the key artists that attended Diddy's parties? Just reveals he may have supposedly visited Diddy gatherings on a regular. For his name to stick out in her mind among the hundreds of individuals who attended his events certainly says volume. No telling what other knowledge Cassie has on the antics of TD Jakes over the years. What's strange is Wendy Williams. She was one of the very first people to reveal Diddy's actions back in 99-2000. I'm talking far before 50 Cent, Gene Deal, and Cassie said anything. But what a lot of people don't know is that Wendy Williams aired out what she observed going place at Diddy private party events on the radio. Diddy got Wendy Williams blackballed from the radio and conducting any business in New York as a whole. Now, what does it tell us that Diddy had contacts in the right places, even over 20 years ago? So when people wonder why Cassie waited so long to say anything, because who's she gonna tell that Diddy ain't already had paid off or was even on the guest list at a couple of P. Diddy events? But as I told you guys before Diddy knew, If Cassie mentioned anything about what was taking place at those secret gatherings, then it would instantly open up Pandora's box to other big personalities who also visited and participated in whatever Puff Diddy had going on. So now that TD Jakes' name is being brought up, it has gone down the route of how he was acquainted to Diddy in the first place. And that connection was made via his son, Jermaine. Now, given Jermaine's prior habits and getting arrested for foul deeds in the park, this does appear to correlate with some of the things Diddy is accused of. So there's no knowing how Jermaine, D, Jake's kid, initially met Diddy. Likewise, but now it all makes sense. Because the biggest confusion that people were having as it relates to this scandal with TD being connected with P. Diddy, it made little sense how they would have ever crossed paths in the first place, in order to stay in communication. But we have to remember, just because TD Jakes' son introduced him to Diddy doesn't mean that their interactions had to continue, especially when a lot of people knew about the lifestyle that Diddy was living. That is until TD Jake realized all that he might gain by developing a friendship with Diddy, and sources claim that's precisely what transpired. Jermaine tossed his father the bone, and he took full advantage of that networking opportunity. People are observing that from that first introduction, TD. Jake quickly pushed things a step further and stepped over into participating into secular activities. It's a pity that his kid is who triggered this entire mess in the first place, so we're going to have to tune in and watch what happens next in this domino effect. Y'all need to comprehend Diddy's name is related to what happened to Pac, Biggie, and Kim Porter. So dealing with that, he absolutely had the necessary people paid in place to make sure everything he want happen as planned, and it's something that Cassie understood. Now, in Young Miami, you understand. And I'm telling y'all, which you should already know, that if Young Miami don't receive all that she want, she's certainly revealing everything that was going on at P. Diddy's rodeo event. But we can all see it. As this Diddy scenario opens up, more individuals will continue to be exposed. I'm here to let y'all know, get your popcorn ready and enjoy the show. Nobody's suggesting that TD Jakes done anything bad. We simply wondering why you staying with Puff Diddy for so long. So with that, always be cautious and always keep prepared. But hey, we have more in store.